Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. Conversations that cool. Kitchen talk. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. Conversations that cool. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk. What you wanna talk about?
Man, I tell you, girl, I'm loving that. Still loving it.
I know, right?
I'm still loving it. Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna change it ever
Man.
again. That's just kind of how I feel about it. It is so
I disagree
smooth.
with that. It only
I-
gets better.
I
Only
enjoy
friends. It just has to be friends.
let me tell you, I enjoyed the first one, and I was like, I really enjoyed the first one. And then after I started listening to this one, I'm like, man, this thing kind of smooth.
It's
Are you talking
smooth.
about the new intro to the show?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
It is so nice. It's sweet. Sweet.
Yeah, so
I like it.
she put a foot on that one now.
Yeah.
She did.
She did.
Miss Tatum, good to see you.
Hi. How are you all tonight?
Good.
Great.
Well, hello, everybody. Marvin just jumped right in.
I'm sorry.
It do grab you. I will say that. This is Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations that cook.
Yes, they do. We are super excited to be well, I guess we all in our own kitchen buildings, but we're excited to be back here live. I miss you guys. Like 2 weeks. That's a long time.
Yeah, been eating out for 2 weeks, man. I'm glad you back in the kitchen cooking.
I know, right? I know. Oh my goodness, this is so. This is just one of the times that it just do your heart good. It feeds your soul.
Mm-hmm.
However, you need a break every now and then for rest and rejuvenation and relaxation. So hopefully everybody got that. I know one person had a fabulous break, which is Fransley Moise. Had a whole birthday while we was gone.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Another year around the sun, and it's a blessing. So
Absolutely.
I did not take this year in vain, not at all.
Man, you look good to be 50, man. You still looking young.
Hey. I went out to eat, and the guy was trying to guess my age, and he said 37. Now he said 34. And I said, I'll take that. If you can only go back, but we can't. We gotta go.
We can't go back. We got to move forward. He's not quite in the club yet, Marvin. He's not quite in the club.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I was just messing with him. I
got some more time before
yeah,
I join.
He's still a little young whippersnapper. He ain't quite got there yet.
Yeah. Keep living, man. Hey,
that's the goal.
Listen, man. I was telling somebody today to just understand, getting old ain't for weak people now.
Oh,
okay.
Boy, you wake up some morning and be like, dang, what did I do to hurt that?
Wow, man,
did you even know that could
hurt? We got the right person on here tonight with this COVID.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't got to get old no more, right? It hurts even earlier. Lord,
the body. Oh, so we got a few little pots on the stove for tonight. Miss Tatum texted me. She's like, "What time again?" I was like, "Oh, and here are a couple of other things we're gonna talk about." She's like, "All right, I'm good." So let's dig into. First of all, we are still living with COVID.
Right.
It is not going to go away as we had hoped in March of 2022, when we were just out. Oh, just take these 2 weeks right here. Oh, just take these other 2 weeks right here. Oh, yeah, we're just gonna be remote for the rest of the year.
Mhm.
So now we are actually living and adjusting, I guess, and kind of getting used to in some aspects with COVID. Thank God we're living with it, because some people did not get to live with it.
Right.
And all of our hearts and positive thoughts go out to the families of those who were lost to COVID or COVID related. But what I guess we are learning is that we are resilient people,
Mhm.
and we just gonna keep moving.
We're
So
stubborn.
we stubborn. Yeah, we stubborn. Absolutely, we stubborn. So I do know that Miss Tatum is still in the trenches.
Yes.
Still in the trenches.
Still in
Thank
the
you.
trenches.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
Absolutely. Woo! I know I couldn't do it.
Right.
You're right. We're still in the trenches.
So let us know what's going on, because I have now had COVID for the second time.
Oh,
I had COVID 2 weeks ago.
no.
And again, very baffled as to where or how, because I was still, even though everybody else is kind of relaxed, I had stuff I wanted to do, places I wanted to go. So I'm still masking up, still trying to, keep myself protected. And I miss out on my trip because I have gotten COVID. So in all of my efforts, I still ended up getting COVID again. Um, thank God it was not, bad,
Mhm.
but it was crazy, because I'm like, wait a minute, wait, hold on. I could not pinpoint it. The first time I got COVID, I knew where, I knew who, and I knew what I did,
Mhm.
because I thought, you think this is a safe space, and all of us think that at some point, we're around these people all the time, this is safe. So I knew the first time, I knew exactly, and I was like, yep, I did that, and it just came back to me. This time I have no idea.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
I think.
Sometimes just don't
Go ahead, I'm
know.
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna, because I was gonna ask you to speak to. I think one of the things, because she mentioned she was wearing her mask, and I think that's one of the big misconceptions. I think, and I wanted you to speak to that. That sometimes people think that just because you wear a mask, you're supposed to be protected. So, can you speak to the mask? That level of misunderstanding.
Yeah, a little bit. The masks can be protective to a certain degree, but it's not 100%. And a lot depends upon what type of mask you're wearing. I can tell you right now, cloth mask, don't bother. That might as well be face jewelry, okay? Because it doesn't do anything else. Um, and if it's not fitting well, if you've got gaps, if it's loose or whatever, it's not going to be as protective. And like I said, they're still not 100%. Even with the KN95 mask, it says KN95. 95% of the
Is
particle.
that what that means?
Yes, that's exactly what it means.
And that's what I do have those. I bought those because that's what they said. Buy those.
Yeah.
I did not just thought it was the name of it. I didn't know it meant 95%.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It filters out about 95% of those particles. So
So if we add another one, would it make it 100?
It depends on how well they fit.
I couldn't breathe.
And I wouldn't breathe
Right.
through a
It's
N95
hard.
mask.
Yeah.
That'd be hard. But putting a surgical mask over an N95, that might bring it up a little bit. But I think one of the things I'm, really kind of encouraging people is not to give up on some of those protective things you're doing. The one thing I do encourage people to do is like change your masks. Don't wear it or use it for 2 weeks and think it's still doing its job. Um, and if it gets wet or sweaty or whatever, pitch it, get another one. So there's certain things you kind of have to do in order to make it keep working for you.
Yeah, yeah. Because one of the things that people have to understand that masks, the most of the masks that we're wearing are really designed to help stop you from spreading it. Doesn't necessarily stop you from getting it. So like when you talk, it stops the particles from shooting out, so they don't spread as far. The radius and where it goes kind of decreases. So it stops us from spreading it more so than it will stop us from getting it. So my wearing a mask is less about me and more about my caring for you. That's really why you wear a mask. So if you're wearing a mask because you're caring for me, if I know that's how you feel, then I need to wear a mask because I care for you. And if we're both wearing a mask, then that decreases my risk of breathing and it getting in through the areas where you have openings. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the biggest thing. And that's why we have to be vaccinated.
Yeah. Our challenge right now is that I'd say probably 80 to 90% of individuals aren't wearing masks at all.
Yes.
It's kind of like, oh, it's fine, and yeah, COVID, no problem. Particularly with that last surge, the diseases who people that got it either didn't feel sick or didn't get that sick. And so it was just like no big deal. So it's like, okay, yeah, whatever, getting a cold and you just keep on moving. But the variants we've got circulating right now, I think that's going to change a little bit. I think they're looking at more serious illness with the BA5, the B4 and the B5 variants that we're now seeing in the area. So
in Tallahassee,
yes, Leon County. Yeah.
So how do you know? Like, how would I know what variants I had, what strand I had?
You wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't. We don't test every single specimen to see which one it was, but the state tests a certain percentage, and they get an idea of what is circulating. What most of the specimens might be. So we're seeing a big increase in those two new strains.
So that means our numbers are on the rise again.
Let's say they've been on the rise and they're scary. Yeah. Yeah. I look at and what's making it a little difficult is that the state isn't tracking it like it was because people get tired, and the state's onto a different agenda. They're totally different agenda. So I look at our numbers from our testing site. It's a community testing site, so I get a lot of people from the community, Leon County, and campus, a number of the campuses. So we've got a pretty good idea of what's the level of circulation in the community, and it was up to over 44%, which scared me. That was a couple of weeks ago. We're running around 27% positive number of cases, and that's high.
And it's not. I think it's on track because again, we're in the summer. We have a lot of activities, people coming into both universities, and trying to get ready for the fall, and there's a lot of people moving about. But you're right, they're not really wearing masks. I went to the store and I'm masked up, and I'm like, well, it's like I'm the oddball.
You are. We are. Yeah.
Even when I go through, Miss Black, got to say this to you. I go through the Chick-fil-A line. Every time I go through that Chick-fil-A, I look for your daughter if she's in there.
She's no longer there. She's unemployed.
Oh, I still put on my mask.
I actually think that's where I got it is the Chick-fil-A line. Because I will put on my mask, right? But while I'm waiting for them to bring me my food, my window is up and I take it down. It's been one or two times that they like came so quick that I couldn't like get
Nah,
it put back on.
before I put my window down, I got my
Oh
mask
yeah,
on.
oh yeah, I have it on, but I'm telling you, it's that fast food line. It was either Chick-fil-A, Wendy's, or that.
Hey,
I got
listen,
to cook in the
You-
kitchen
you-
more.
That's what I'm about
Yeah.
to say. You got to be in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You
I
out in
don't know
the
about
streets. You in these streets.
I'm in the streets. I'm in the streets because I've been so adamant only because, well, of course I don't want to get COVID even though I've gotten it. But I wanted to go on my trip. I was like, no, I gotta protect myself. I gotta make sure I'm good so I could go on my trip, and I could not go on my trip.
Mm.
I was so mad. That's the part that just made me so mad was I was not gonna be able to travel.
So, Miss Tatum, what else could we do besides, let's say, the mask and washing the hands? Is there anything else new?
Getting vaccinated. We're the federal government is encouraging businesses and companies and everyone to really look at the air handling system since we know this is an airborne virus at this point.
Mhm.
I know at FAMU we did a whole lot of work. We put in UV light radiation systems in the HVAC in the system so that it actually can like kill the virus once it gets up in there. We increased how quickly the air turns over in a room,
Mm.
and we added more outside air than inside, than inside. I mean, we did everything to really try to optimize those systems in all of our buildings. We put in hospital grade filters. I mean, just across the board to really try to do that. So I think that's been very helpful. But honestly, we're going on 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
And when I think about it, and I think about, okay, the great, Spanish flu in 1918, it didn't last this long. Okay.
right.
It did not last this long. There were 3 big surges with that. I stopped counting ours, so I don't know, what the course is going to be, but between the politics and behavior, it sort of keeps it rolling on. And
Yeah. Do you? I was just going to ask. Do you think you mentioned 1918? Do you think the population as a whole was more responsive to doing the things that were necessary to stay alive?
I, in hindsight, I can only project what I think they were doing. And I see pictures and I see people in masks. So I think once they had like the huge number of deaths that, yeah, people change behaviors pretty quickly.
Yeah. And so,
And they didn't have all the advantages we have. There weren't the vaccines, they couldn't fix the HVAC systems, they didn't exist. So between, politics and behaviors, I think that's what's keeping us stuck.
I was just thinking that,
yeah,
we could, like that's some great measures, but have we stopped, right? Like, is there more that we can do to ensure that, our families, our friends, and our community is safe? So, it's like what you're saying. Well, the state, people stop wearing masks, they stop doing it. So are other measures besides, okay, we got the HVAC, what else can we do to kind of
It's honest. I mean, it's
has the
political.
innovation stopped?
It's political, and it's a money game, and it's.
yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we do what we know to do. We do what the information that they allowed to come out to do.
Exactly.
So because really, had it been done correctly, maybe from even the beginning, we may be a little further along than we are.
Yeah.
But and this is a little bit of conspiracy theorist in me.
I mean,
I'll be a plan. I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah. But
It's
I
I don't know if there was a poem, but it's certainly
I mean, but I'm just thinking of how we were able to head off. Was it Ebola and a couple of other things that were going to be really serious? But then we get to this, and it's like, whoosh,
called
well,
outbreak.
but I think you need to look at one, the handling of it. Uh,
that's my point. Yeah.
from the beginning, when Ebola was starting to break out, and we saw it. You know, it was kind of handled differently from
Mm-hmm.
yes.
just from the outset.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it was not if COVID wasn't politicized,
Mhm.
and if everybody would have been on the same page as far as
Mm-hmm.
saying, hey, this is what we need to do, you know, this is how we can get in front of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if everybody said, hey, this is serious, but when you have people with influence saying, hey, I would like to downplay it,
Absolutely.
I don't want it to see as if it's
Mhm.
that bad. And once people that believe you hear that, no matter how much you try to go back on it,
Yeah.
they've already heard that it's not that bad,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
We
And
basically undermined our entire public health system.
Yeah.
From the top levels,
Mhm.
we really cut them off at the knees, and we
Yeah.
had them
Please.
giving out incorrect information. And I mean, it was the politics at play in this really have impacted this, and I think
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
allowed us to. We're suffering more from it.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's we suffer again. Got to put that out there. Please vote and vote right,
Ah.
because it was a
Ah.
perfect storm. It's a perfect storm.
Yeah.
You talked about curbing Ebola. That if maybe with the right leadership, we would have been able to curb this too.
Yeah.
I think we could have seen something different, because I think as a whole, everybody would have took it seriously. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then once you get to a place where, with America, again, I've said this before on the show, America, we don't really know the difference between freedom and liberty. And we have this false sense of freedom that we can do whatever we want when we want to, and
Mhm.
we don't care how it affects others, because hey, I'm free. And so what happens is, when you start saying, hey, okay, we can't do this, we gonna quarantine for 2 weeks, and then you don't have to stay in. Hey, put on your mask. You don't have to wear your mask. Well, you got to put your mask back on. So you have people who, hey, now they start getting that freedom, that taste of that freedom. It's like you're at the front. You ask, what can we do now? It's hard, because you can't go back to something that somebody says, hey, you just set me free.
Right.
Yeah.
You just told me that if
Yeah.
I'm vaccinated, I
Yeah.
don't have to wear the mask. So
Yep.
now they tell me that I have to wear the mask now.
Yeah.
So you got to deal with that, along with the people who were saying, I told you it was a conspiracy. No one's really dying from COVID. These people are dying from this, and it's crazy, because, you have people who get COVID and then they say, man, this thing is real. But this is the crazy part. You have people who get COVID and a family member dies, and they still say it wasn't COVID.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
All
So
because from the beginning, someone said we need to downplay it, and that COVID isn't that
But
serious.
you brought to my memory with during the Obama era, where there were literally organizations in place to catch stuff like this on the front end.
yeah,
But a
Yeah.
new administration comes in and say, well, all of that is no need. We're gonna get rid of that stuff.
Mhm.
And again, that's every show we go back to voting. Ms. Tatum, I don't know. Every show come back to voting.
But it's important because that is the only thing that protects us as individuals and as citizens of this country. And we are all seeing, a lot of rights being dismantled,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
protection,
Mm.
voting, and everything else.
Mm.
A lot of things are under attack, and it is our civic duty to vote and to vote wisely. And I think, the more we can encourage people to do that, because it's not just, I mean, I have like four brothers, younger brothers, and the youngest of them is like, it doesn't matter. Who I vote for never wins anyway. But for the number of people to do that and respond that way, they lessen our influence.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, your vote counts. You may not get your pick every single time, but it really, really does count.
Yeah.
I said this in one of our shows, not the last show, maybe the show before last. We at war. And if you don't know that, then you are literally under a rock. Our rights, the way we see this, we are literally at war. And we definitely have to stay on the battlefield.
And the thing of it is a lot of people that are in places of influence and power, they don't care about our rights.
No, they don't.
Miss Tatum, that's why I had to give you a round of applause. Because, Lord, that battlefield that you fight, sometimes we think we have to be at the highest seat to make a difference.
No,
but
really, you don't.
Where we are, the things that
I want to make a difference in my backyard.
Man, that's what I said. We got to give it up to you. We appreciate you for all that you do.
Truly appreciate.
Absolutely.
Listen, and most people, even on here, don't know all the things that you do.
I know. When I was saying, I was like, what I gotta do? What I gotta do?
I'm wondering if she ever sleep.
Listen,
what's that?
I'm like, y'all don't even know.
But I mean, thanks to Lisa, look how many times have we talked about this? How many times that we're being able to share information and to help inform people so they can make good decisions. And you're on the front lines too. I mean, all of you are, and all of the times that you talk to a friend or a neighbor or family member, it all counts. It all counts. It's just that one next person that we can protect and save, and it all helps.
So what do you think about the evolution where I was just talking to a friend who shared that their child had COVID, but no symptoms. They were fine. They were moving about. If they didn't have to go to the hospital for another reason, he wouldn't even have known that he had COVID. Do you think that we are moving into an era where we may become, I guess, immune?
But it's been like that all along, France. It's been like
a lot of people haven't had symptoms and didn't know they had symptoms.
Didn't know until they got something else.
About 40%
something else or whatever, or were mandated by I know when we were doing shows, the cast had to go every so many days. They may not have done nothing.
Right.
Whatever. So that's been that way from the beginning.
Yeah,
carriers.
40%.
Carriers with no symptoms. Yeah.
And so I think
I was asymptomatic.
And I think a lot more people have had COVID.
I
But
think
a lot of people are asymptomatic. We never go get tested, or it feels like, it's something mild, like a little cold. Or if you have recurring allergies, it feels like it could feel like, hey, just my allergies flaring up. So who's to say? Because I don't feel any different. So it could be my allergies, it could be COVID, but I ain't going to get tested because I have recurring allergies. So I'm going to just say it's my allergies. So I've never had COVID, but I have had allergies.
Well, then now you can get a home test.
Yeah,
I have some.
Test yourself and get that. I was looking at something in China where now they got to get tested just about almost every day. They can't even get into a building without ensuring that you've been tested. I know that there's a lot of people who are getting tested. Do you think that's something that we need to do in terms of monitoring ourselves, self-regulation, maybe take a COVID test once a week, a home test?
I'll be honest. I test every week.
Okay.
But that's part of, where I work and the work I do, and I'm around it a lot. And I work in a clinic. Sick people come in. So for me and in the environment I'm in, I test every week. But because there are a large number of people that aren't symptomatic, I think you think about testing if you've been around people that you're not familiar with or been in a large crowd or something. I mean, it makes sense because one, we can still get free testing fairly
Yep.
easily. You can order the home test. In fact, today is the last day you can get for the latest round of free tests from the government at covidtest.gov. Go ahead and get online and get more free tests. They're giving out 8 tests, I think, this time. So it makes sense to kind of test on a periodic basis. If not, it doesn't have to be every week. It might be every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, think about.
Or you going on a trip, coming back. Lisa was just saying that. Hey, I'm on a trip, coming back. Let me get tested.
Can I tell everybody who goes on vacation, please test when you come back, because those are a lot of the calls I'm getting. Hey, I just got back from vacation. Oops, I tested positive for COVID.
What's the name of that website again to get those free tests?
It's http 2/covidtest.gov. Just type in covidtest.gov.
Covidtest.gov. Everybody get that.
Well, you know, Miss Tatum.
Do it now so you can get your 8 free tests. Honey, I know you're listening to the show. covidtest.gov. Going to get our free test. And
I think you can do 2 orders.
My cousin on it.
Yeah, I think you can do 2 orders per family. So get them while you can. And I just, periodically test. It doesn't hurt. It's not that invasive.
Yeah, it's not even as bad as it was the first time.
At first,
I was like, oh my God, whoa, how much further are you going to go? Now it's kind of like, okay.
Well, the home kits are pretty good too. I think that's like a good first line of defense.
Yeah.
And
it's easy to use. It's easy to use.
Yeah, you don't have to go out anywhere. And the thing is if you do have some symptoms, I always tell folks, just test and check it out. Because I hear, I just had a summer cold, or it's my allergies, or I always get a little bronchitis, or it's true. It could be, but we're in a pandemic. So go ahead and test and rule that out right away. Because what happens is when you don't, we find out 3 days later after you've been at work for so many days, it was COVID. So
the crazy thing is people, you're traveling now without a mask.
I'm not.
Well, I'm not. I went to a funeral. One of my favorite, good aunts. I can't say favorite because I got a lot of aunts.
You about to get in trouble.
You almost slipped.
But she passed away, and I said, man, I got to go to the funeral. Masked up and, got on the flight. And I realized how many people did not want to wear a mask.
Yeah.
To the point where some people were having conversations about it and coughing on the plane. I look like I can't even, like, if somebody sneezes, I feel like something's about to go down.
So
I'm like,
aren't we still mandated on the planes to wear masks?
No. And that's what the conversation, like 2 rows behind me before we actually got off. The guy was like, I'm so comfortable, I don't want to wear a mask. And I'm like,
you know what?
Now he's coughing.
You know what I think they should do, right, for flights? I think they should have mask flights and non-mask flights. If you feel like you don't want to wear a mask and it bothers you that much, then we have a flight for you. This flight leaves from here at this time, And for those of you,
we can't get all the flights to leave now.
I was about to say that.
Exactly. They cancel them left and right.
Really, Marvin?
Hey,
that
listen.
same flight to Miami, it was just a train wreck, but I made it. But you're right, we barely make those, Doc. They barely make it.
I know, man, but I'm just saying, it's like when you had to wear a mask, it says clearly you have to wear a mask to get on the plane. So why would you get on the plane and then say, I don't want to wear the mask, after you acknowledge and agree that if I get on the plane, I'm going to wear a mask?
Yeah.
pray because I'm like, Lord, don't let nobody get on the plane with me like that because I don't want to be seen on the news acting stupid.
I mean, well, listen, going and
You
coming
can hold
back,
my flight up.
going and coming back. There were people who were on there who they were sick,
Mhm.
coughing, sneezing. I'm like, you know, you're not well. Why are you here?
It's just
Because they
their
don't care. They don't
because
care.
because they feel like that's their freedom.
Yes.
That's
Mhm.
their right.
They're
They don't
And
right
care.
and my
to
thing is this, and we talk about this all the time. I have the freedom to drive a car. However, I have the liberty because I still have to drive it within a certain speed limit. If I drive reckless and I endanger other people, even if I'm driving the speed limit, if I'm zigzagging in and out of traffic, I can get a ticket and I can go to jail for reckless endangerment.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
now, but with COVID, because again, it's become political, it's like you feel like you have the right to endanger everyone around you.
Yep, and it's reckless.
Mm-hmm.
It's reckless because some
Yeah,
people they're literally sick, but they're still moving
and they
about.
know it.
Like,
It is reckless. It is very reckless. I mean,
Yeah.
I
considering
used to say reckless. I just say careless.
no, it's
They
it,
don't care.
yeah, they care less. Yeah, but it is. I mean, well, I think I asked Miss Tatum this one time too. I was like, can we bring somebody up on charges? That's like attempted murder or something.
Well, you know what though? There's
Yeah.
always a first time for everything. So let's say you go somewhere and someone you know they have COVID, and let's say one of your family members get it and they pass. Then technically that'll be the first time somebody filed charges.
We'll have a lot of that going on.
And
Well,
then
it's
once
kind of like the AIDS epidemic, right? So if you knew that you were HIV positive and you did not disclose that information to your sexual partner, you could be brought up on
Yeah.
charges
On
for real.
charges. Yeah. Yeah.
right, that's still to this day.
To this
Yeah,
day.
Yeah.
yeah,
so hey,
But again, that goes back to leadership. Going back to what Ms. Tatum said,
Yeah.
you know, when they undermine
Yeah.
the people who have the authority and the wisdom and
yeah, yeah,
the experience.
yeah.
So you telling me the doctor who knows about this, you rather listen to the uh number 45 to
Yeah. My pillow guy.
drink some
Some
bleach.
bleach.
It's crazy. It's
yeah,
crazy.
but
Okay, y'all, listen. We were supposed to talk about some other stuff too.
Yeah. Y'all riding COVID guy.
Let's
It actually goes right to our next piece where they're trying to change. I think that's what you was going to next, right? The changing of the.
The overturning of Roe versus Wade.
Oh no, I thought you was going
Oh,
to go
which
with the
one?
changing of the
slavery time.
Oh, yes.
slavery.
Relocation.
Yeah, because that's exactly
Okay,
what's happening.
so you are going to say, instead of saying slavery, I think this is in Texas.
Texas, right.
Yes.
In Texas.
Instead of saying slavery, you're going to say involuntary relocation.
Yeah. So
to
those for
second
those
grade.
Anything.
To second graders, no less.
the
Second
second
grade.
grade. Right. So yeah, for those who don't know, this is what's being proposed in the state of Texas to teach
Yes.
second graders. Instead of teaching them about slavery, they want to teach them, instead of calling it slavery, it's involuntary relocation.
Involuntary
Why
relocation.
you right?
We
They
at
ain't
war.
teach me that. They ain't teach me that. They taught me slavery. So to
That's
make you feel
Miss
better, we need
Black,
to change the words so it won't be so harsh and sound so negative.
Miss
Well,
Black, they barely taught you slavery.
I was going to say,
You,
in second grade, they ain't teach me about no slavery.
you,
They didn't
yeah,
teach
and
much.
you're
It
right.
was the
I had to.
Pilgrims and the Indians,
That's
and they
right.
got
And we had
along and had
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving
We had Thanksgiving.
on the
Yeah.
Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
Yeah.
All
That's
a
it.
lie.
Mhm.
Just a lie. Just lied to us our whole life.
But you
Thank
know
God for
what though?
HBCU.
But you
But
know what
again,
though? This is in alignment with what they've done with the Civil War. And
Mhm.
honestly, that's why a lot of white Americans don't really understand the true meaning behind the rebel flag and what the Civil War was really about.
Oh, they understand.
No, hold on. What you got to understand is you have a lot of individuals The Daughters of Confederacy, when the war was over, what they did was they fought to make sure there were no books in the South that spoke negatively against the South. And they only had books that put the Confederate in a certain light.
Mm.
So, with that being said, when you change the narrative, to some people, I mean, now we know that the individuals who were in the war, starting the war, is recorded. One guy said, if it ain't about slavery, what we fighting for?
What we fighting?
Mm.
So we know it's about slavery, but when they see that, they still want to hold on to, well, no, because so and so said. You
Mm.
follow what I'm saying? I mean,
Mhm.
because you got to understand, the Civil War was about power, political power, and
Yep.
big money. You know what I mean? And because again, the rich people didn't have to fight in the war. They drafted and made the poor white people who didn't have slaves fight in the war. You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, and they changed the narrative behind it so that they came out with a different outlook, and now those guys become heroes to them, so forth and so for fighting for something that they don't even really know and understand that they weren't fighting for them.
But you know, you hit a key point. They were educated that way.
Yeah.
So, you know, generation after generation after generation, they were told that this is the way, this is why it's right, and this is why it's okay. So here we are. They want to change the laws so that the second graders could now learn it in that way. Oh, slavery didn't happen. There's people to this day who would say that slavery didn't happen because that's how they were educated. They were educated that this never, that what we know as slavery never existed. And what we know is so watered down.
I mean, and if they do acknowledge it, the message is always, oh, we were happy because we were singing and dancing.
Correct.
That's right.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
absolutely.
How many
they
second
know that.
graders use words with that many syllables? Involuntary relocation.
Relocation.
That is way past what they can grasp as a concept.
Right.
But
Right.
it's done on purpose. Again, we are at war. So I want to change the narrative, and I want them to know this is what it is. Because again, they're going to grow up knowing that, and then they're going to pass it on to their kids. And then they're going to pass it on to their kids. That's why they still waving
And
the
it
flag.
just continues to fuel this fire of division.
Correct.
That's
It
it.
continues to fuel the fire of division. And that's really what it is. Because I think our children and even most reasonable adults are grown enough, mature enough to say, I know it wasn't you.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's move past it and see how we can fix what our forefathers did, how we can fix what our ancestors did.
Right. So this is the problem with the United States, that we will never conquer this because we're afraid to confront it.
Right.
You
Mm.
can never conquer what you're afraid to confront.
You got to admit and atone.
Right. And
Yeah.
we don't
Even if
we
you
don't-
don't atone, just recognize what's happened and the structural changes that have been made as a result of it that disadvantage groups, large
Right.
groups of people.
And so what happens to this too, and I was watching this guy, and when they were doing the interview, and they were talking about this, he was Pakistani Indian, something like that, but he was talking about how his family came over with nothing, and how they made it and became successful, and so forth and so on. And so, and then the white guy that was interviewing saying it's good to hear a minority say that, because you have a lot of minorities. And what I try to get people to understand is this: it's different when you're on the outside looking
in.
Anybody who understands psychology understands the long-term effects of oppression.
Right.
When you have a group of people that have been oppressed for a long period of time, it requires time and direct confrontation of the issues in order to see that change. And so when people from other nations see opportunity, all we see is oppression.
Mhm.
All we see is every time we try to get up, this is what they did to bring us down. So
Well,
man,
they changed the rules.
right. They changed
Exactly.
But not just, but Marvin, not just.
No, go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, So not just I understand what you're saying, but not just that, but what about the mentality or the psyche of the oppressor that
Well,
you
you,
are passing that down
Yeah.
from generation to generation.
Yeah.
So yes, so you got a people that are trying to come out from being oppressed, but you also have a generation of people that are oppressors, so that's their behavior, that's their mentality, and
And
so
right.
the cycle just continues. So
I said,
you have
again.
to break the cycle.
I said that. The Civil War. Come on now. That's when they should have just. Man, we talked about this so many times, but I still can't figure out how do you get to these people.
So the thing of it
These
is
people needed to be atoned. You think about the oppressed, instead of getting killed and their lands taken away and their rights taken away, they were given more.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
given more opportunity, more lands, and
Well,
more
think about
money.
this, right? So after the Civil War, the free slaves in the South, those slaves were given land. They were given land. But when Abraham Lincoln was killed, not Andrew Jackson, but Andrew Johnson, when he got it, became president. He reversed that law and gave the land back. You
Mhm.
know
And
what I
see, that's
mean?
the problem.
And
Again,
so
you
instead
haven't
of
atoned to that. You can, if
right,
you haven't atoned to that, then what
but
you're gonna have is what we have now:
right,
generations
but
Mess.
of
but
oppression.
also look at this too. When you look at it from the standpoint of individuals who came out of an oppressive environment, right, and really began to build wealth and really began to you talking about coming with nothing and really begin to build, to then when others see you building and growing beyond where they are, that they feel like, you know what, we got to destroy that because you're progressing too fast or you're doing too much.
Mhm.
You follow what I'm saying? So when you look at this, that's been a history of America that we have to, again, America, if we don't confront it, we'll
Yeah.
never conquer it. And we'll never become the true nation that we are supposed to be,
Yeah.
you know?
But
so
that's the people that we are. You should have known we was gonna do it because you brought us over here and we
Mhm.
built everything anyway.
Mhm.
So of course, left to our own and trying to do our own stuff, it's gonna be magnificent.
Yeah. Yeah.
well,
But
If you would
everybody
just
listen to
leave it
plan.
alone. What you say?
Everybody listen to plan, please, because we're gonna have to vote because I'm watching what's happening all across the country. Here in Florida, we talked about the case in Texas. In Texas, that's happening here in Florida too.
Yep.
You can't
Yeah.
go around and teach what you want to teach any longer.
That's
Right.
right.
It all changed, and so I see a lot of our rights, a lot of our freedoms being chipped away at.
Yeah.
Although not
Absolutely.
chipped, they're knocking boulders off. Okay, we're packing the individuals in state systems so that they can decide who the winner is of the elections, whether the votes add up that way or not. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many challenges to our system, and it's eroding away on a daily basis. It really
And I
is.
think
And
that's
if
the
we don't get
that's
out
the
and vote, it's going to be really, we're going to lose.
this is the piece that we struggle with on the show when we talk about this, Miss Tatum, is it's not just voting, it's voting for the right
Right.
person, the person who believes in what America is really supposed to be about. That's number
Mhm.
one. And who believes in the people and helping the people, who
Mhm.
want to be, again, true servants. But more importantly, who's smart enough, not just getting old Tommy, but let's get the smart, savvy person to say, hey, this is what we can do to make our systems better. But more importantly, somebody who's going to say, you know what, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't get it right. I didn't have all the right information. And I only bring that up because our other topic is Creflo Dollar. Hey,
You know what? I was like, oh my God.
Listen.
This is
Listen.
right up Fran's alley right here.
Listen, at least the brother said, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. But you got people
He ain't
embezzling
that wrong.
money.
Wait, he ain't that wrong. He ain't making atonement. He ain't giving them people their money back.
And I say, you know what? He's truly an American. Hey, well, he had to learn it from somebody.
America hadn't said they wrong.
Listen, he learned it from somebody, and that's the problem that we face now. We are literally taking on the habits of the oppressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of the oppressor.
Oppressors.
The oppressor.
Yeah.
We're literally taking on their habits. And it's so sad. The person who's supposed to be helping the community, being the spiritual leader, you taking their money and telling them to give you more money to fuel your own jet. I should say fuel your own desires.
Yes.
And then tell them you wrong. Oh, I'm wrong, but still, like you said, I'm not gonna give you nothing back. I'm not gonna help you. There's nothing that says he's gonna help them in any other way than what he's been doing so far. The worst part about it is people are still gonna follow him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst part.
Yeah.
Just like Trump.
Yep.
People are
Absolutely.
still. I tell you, it's a sickness.
I mean,
And
people.
until we able to kill it, if we would have killed it during the Civil War, we would not have this problem today.
Now, that I don't know.
Snake live. They let the snake live, and that's the problem, right there.
Well, okay. So it depends on your viewpoint on who the snake is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We know who the snake is.
Because you don't go to war if you're in agreement.
That's right.
So if I think I'm right and you think you're right, if we don't find a common ground, then I still think I'm right and you still think you're right.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's not even about right nor wrong. It's about humanitarian, just being a humane, just being a human, just being, hey, this is
I
this
agree
is
with
essentially
you, Fran.
justice.
But it's also the different points of
Fran,
views.
but everybody don't view it in that
Different
way.
points of views.
And that's why the war was important. You won the war because you thought you was right, and you were. They were right, and they won the war. But they didn't kill the snake. They let it live.
So, but I think what we need to do too, though, first of all, is when look at what Crestflow was saying and make sure we get an understanding of what he's talking about. So, understanding when you look at tithing in the Bible, right? You look at tithing in the Bible. First place you see tithing in the Bible is in Genesis, the 14th chapter. And it wasn't a tithe out of the law, but it was a free will offering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You go further in the Bible, then you see tithing as part of the law, saying that it was mandated that everybody give a tenth of their first fruit or of their lambs or their calves, so forth and so on, given a tenth. And so most people in church like to quote Malachi, the 3rd chapter, "Would a man rob God? Yeah. With your tithes and with your offerings, right?" So what Creflo was saying was that he had to repent because he still had tithing under the law, right? Now, what I guess what we have to understand then is tithing now no longer in place. Well, if I'm believing and reading the Bible in Matthew, the 23rd chapter, about verse 23, Jesus himself said, you should have done that, tithe, and not neglect weightier matters. Like there are other things that are just as important and more important than just tithing of your common, your anise, and your mint, right? So he didn't take away tithing, but tithing now in the New Testament is more of a free will offering. And a tithe is just a measure of how much you can give. If you wanted to know where a starting place was, then give a tithe. Because in the New Testament, he didn't take away giving. You know what I'm saying? He didn't take away giving. So to understand, and again, I'm not in Creflo's head. I don't know what he's thinking. But But I'm assuming that what he was doing more so was compelling people to give out of the
Free
law.
will.
In other words, making them afraid that if you don't give, you're going to be cursed or you
Right.
got to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Whereas understanding that in the New Testament, it's a free will. And we
Right.
see giving in the New Testament in various places. And in 2 Corinthians, the 9th chapter, the Bible said God loves a what? A
A
Be a
cheerful.
cheerful giver.
forgiver.
Cheerful giver.
And he says he'll cause all grace to abound unto you, that you
Mhm.
always have all
All
sufficiency in all
sufficiency.
And
things.
all things may abound to every good
Every
work.
good work.
And abound.
But you know what? It didn't say you got to give it to the church, to the
No.
church.
See,
He
I
said
think,
be a
I
cheerful
think,
giver.
but
That
I
means
think,
I
I
can
think,
give to my mama, to my daddy, to my community.
and I
That's
think
the
that's
problem.
where, and I think that's where we can agree to disagree, because we understand that he's not just talking about giving it to out there. If you look at what he was, if you look at what he was talking about, the people were collecting an offering for the church.
Exactly.
They were collecting an offering for the church. The question is in the church, are we doing everything that God would have us to do in the
Bingo.
church?
With that.
Now,
Bingo.
so with that being said, I want to help those who have given and feel like they were taken advantage of. I want to help you with that. I want to help those because if you giving from here, from your heart, and believing that you are doing what's right with God, it's no longer in your hands.
That's right.
If I give you something and I say it's yours, if I buy you a car, friends, if I
Mhm.
buy you a car and I say it's your car,
Mhm.
right? So now I gave that to you.
Right.
Now what you do with that car is
That's
what?
on me.
That's
That's
right.
from my heart.
That's right.
I know how I gave it.
That's right.
So to tithe or to give means that has to die to you. Until a seed fall to the ground and die, it remains
Right.
alone.
That's
That,
right.
So
that's that's
if you ever give something and you're worried and complaining about what they're doing, what you gave, then you never released it.
And see,
Mm-mm.
that's my thing too,
Mm-mm.
is I also have to be
Preach.
responsible in who I give it to. So if I give it to, if I'm going to this particular church, I want to know that, you know what, I'm giving it to you. You're gonna do with it, hopefully the right thing with it, where it's going to do what the church said, provide meat and whatever else they need, meet all their needs, because we all gave to it. So yeah, I want to be in a place where I'm going to give it and forget it.
Yeah.
But I
No,
also need to be responsible enough to say, oh, I'm not going to keep giving it to Jack, or I should say Dollar, because Dollar going to keep spending it.
see, and again, now again, and me and Lisa, we were kind of talking about this. We were kind of talking about this prior
You
to.
can't be too
Yeah,
foolish.
yeah, we were kind of talking about this prior to because like I said, I never really was a person that listened to a lot of Creflo Dollar.
Right.
I never really listened to a lot of them, so I'm not trying to back him or support him or tear him down in any kind of way. But I think we have to look at it and not just with a narrow view, but we have to look at the big picture.
Yep.
Because, like for example, there are some pastors and some ministries that pastors are getting paid very well, but
Yep.
the churches are doing a lot of work.
Correct.
And I think sometimes what happens too is we have this mindset of if we're in church, then and this preacher builds this ministry and this ministry is growing, that he still should take crumbs.
Oh
Where
no.
where
Yep.
if a
oh,
CEO
it is
of,
people that believe it.
Oh, yeah, I
of
know it is.
another company, a
Right.
CEO builds a company, then he's worthy of what he get. So we got to also understand the Bible says, if I sow into you spiritual, I have the right to give you a carnal. The problem is you don't really believe that I'm sowing into you something spiritual. So when you are growing, when things are happening in your life that you're being blessed, you don't think it's because of what's being sowed into you by the man or woman of God. You think, oh, I'm out there doing this on my own.
Right.
And you forget in Deuteronomy 8:18, when God said, he is he that gives you the power to get wealth, that he might establish your covenant with you. And so what I want people to understand too, though, even though the tithing was something under the law, but it was also outside of the law in the Old Testament. And what we also got to understand is everything in the New Testament was in the Old Testament concealed. It was in the Old Testament, and if we can go through line after line,
Yeah.
scripture after scripture, and find all these things that were that's written in the New Testament that was already spoken. It was just it's a mystery.
Marvin,
again,
Jesus is free. We don't have to pay for Jesus.
That's right.
Jesus is free.
He's free.
He
I
is
get to
though.
come to
He
church. I
is.
don't have to pay for Jesus.
No,
Right.
you don't even have to go to church. He's free. He's for everybody. But again, we got to be careful because just as we are hitting on 45 and other cronies like him who don't have a leadership mentality, who's also thinking for themselves, not for the community, we also have that in the church. So we got to be careful.
Yeah.
The thing is that, you know, we smart all week long, all week. But on Sunday, we go dead. It's like one of my good friends told me that, and I said, "You're right, Mr. Evans. The one day of the week, I'm talking about the smartest people you can know all week long, working on from corporate office to the hospital, smart. They get to church on Sunday. It's like the doors just go off, and whatever the person want to do, they do. No, I'm gonna hold you accountable, just
Absolutely.
like we hold Trump accountable. Everybody listen. We can't walk sleeping anymore because that's why we losing the war. We losing it because we sleeping. I can't give you the wheel and expect you to take me somewhere. And when I see you going the wrong way, oh, it's fine. You took me all the way to Texas. I'm supposed to be in Jacksonville, and I'm still talking about it's fine. That's how you die.
Yeah.
And until we start holding these people accountable, I don't care if they're the church, the teacher, the preacher, the principal, the president, you got to be held responsible because it's a leadership role. Yes, you deserve the money that you earn. Yes, you should get paid for what you do. But at the same time, I'm gonna hold you responsible.
I mean, JT, I'm gonna be quiet because JT was trying to say something. So go ahead, JT.
Man, I forgot what I was trying to say because you know how friends get.
You know how I get about this. You know
it. I'm like, oh yeah, I lost my train of thought.
I mean, and so go ahead.
I probably would say something crazy anyways because we were talking about Creflo Dollar and you was talking about following people, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, people still follow old Jermaine Simmons even though you know he's jumping out of people's window butt naked.
JT, no. JT, no. JT.
Hey, JT.
I just got in my hotel room. And I'm a little tired. I'm out of it a little bit,
but I mean,
don't let it burn, JT.
Whether it's spiritual leadership, like France was saying, whether it's spiritual leadership, whether it's educational, whether it is political, wherever the leadership is, we do find ways to sometimes follow not so good leadership.
But that's true. But I think the thing is too, when we start talking about, and I'm just using this, I mean, listen, I'm just using this as an example when you talk about Creflo, and let's say, for example, holding him accountable, you know, then the thing becomes in what way? You know what I mean?
I got the way for you too.
You know, because like for me, what I don't agree with is I don't have a problem if the church gives you a salary and you use your salary to buy your car, to buy your jet. Then I don't have a problem with it because that's your money that they gave you as a salary, and
they paid you, not gave.
Right. Well, they paid you. Well, and you can use that for whatever. If you want to buy a $28,000 toilet, then with your heart's delight, buy your $28,000 toilet because you're using the money that they paid you, right? But what I don't agree with then is you're saying you want us to turn around and buy you a jet used for the church, but it's not the church jet because as a member of the church, I just can't get on that jet.
No member could get on that jet.
Be able to get access.
Right. So I don't agree with that. You know what I mean? So
here's my thing too, Doc, and I've said this. That's all I said. Man, France Moyes for office. Listen. You are the pastor of the church. You got a jet for $65 million. and now one of your members, I'm just guessing right now, have $1 million in their pocket. He could give just about most of his members a house to live in, change that community, really make a difference. But you're talking about buying a house, buying a toilet, but I don't care what he buys. It don't make no sense. If your role is to be a servant leader, yes, you get your salary.
I think
Yes,
that's where
you get your house in check, but at the same time, you can't neglect the people who pay you.
And I'm not saying neglect the people who paying you, but at the same time, what I'm saying too is this: is if they're saying he's worthy of his hire, and that's what they're paying him. Now, let me ask you this: when I have to now, we pay you, your job pays you. Do you now are mandated to now take the money that they pay you and make sure you take care of everybody else?
Well, here's the thing: it's not in the title of my job,
and it's not in the title of his job.
Exactly. That's right.
It's not in his title.
That's right.
It's not, and that's just like
yeah.
So
pastor does not mean pastor does not mean
president,
pastor, president, congressman, congresswoman. If your job is leading, and you're supposed to be the person that's
so the president of the university is a leader.
Yeah,
he's a leader. So any money he gets should go to the students.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he should get.
You just said.
No, I'm saying he should get.
Pastor.
Here it is. I'm saying he should get paid, but the money that he gets to work for the university to ensure that the university moves in the right way, operates in the right way, he needs to use it in the right way. He can't just say,
but his definition and your definition the right way is two different things.
Well, we know what's right and wrong. We know what's going on.
You can't tell me.
Hold on.
Object to yourself. Come on.
So he took up a special offering.
That's a special offering.
Right. And then you know what? That's the thing I just said earlier.
He asked people to give towards this.
And you know what?
This had nothing to do with the operation of the
That's
church.
right.
Listen,
that's right.
All of it, and that's my problem right there.
Ms. Tatum, go ahead and say something. You got to interject.
Yes, actually, he said it was to further his overseas ministry.
Boom.
And my question was, do they even have a plan for an overseas ministry?
We still waiting for that house to be built.
But he didn't say he didn't say their overseas ministry.
He said
his.
There's a difference.
Let me say
you
this.
have an option.
But
that's right.
You're 100% right. And it goes back to what I said earlier.
So hold on. Hold on, Frantz.
I get a chance to choose what church I go to.
I think the first thing you got to make sure.
That's all. You're right.
Hold on. The first thing I got to say is this. Want to make sure we understand that he wasn't saying that he took money that was put in the church for one thing.
Right.
And misappropriated it and used it
right.
for something.
Right.
That's not what he's saying. That's not what happened. So it wasn't like he was misusing church money. Now, do you feel like he was misusing church people? Okay, that's an argument that you can have, because he knew that he had influence. And he knew that if I say this is what I want,
then people are going to do it.
That's where I was getting to from the very beginning.
Used his power and influence to get people to purchase a jet. But to say that he misused and misappropriated funds that were given to the church for one thing and he used it for something else, that's not what he did.
No.
Listen. You could use the elastic clause any way you want to use it in America. But at the end of the day, the people who are following him, following Trump, following all of the people who I think are not truly helping people, that's what they do. But we fall asleep behind the wheel and like, okay, he was doing this. At the end of the day, he knew $65 million.
But again, friends, that is your opinion.
Opinion, exactly.
It is all of mine. This is not the opinion of Kitchen Talk. This is all.
Yeah, thank you for that disclaimer.
Transmores.
Listen.
I can't run.
We're not with him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Exactly. So we cannot say what he is and is not doing.
Listen,
You can't. That's judgmental. You cannot be judgmental.
I'm out with Trump 24 hours a day, but I know enough to know he's a crook. That's the
No,
problem.
you know what you see. You know what
A
you
lot
see
of
and what the
people
media
voted
show you.
for people. Oh, I don't know him. You know the same thing with Rick Scott. We knew he was a crook before, but we voted him again. It's a lot of these
No, we didn't.
leaders, pastors, preachers, teachers.
Me neither,
They
Reggie. Me
do
neither.
the same thing, but we fall asleep.
And
Oh,
here we are with France, 10 minutes over, because that's what
Always.
Now,
I'm just trying. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to be
Lisa,
a servant. Listen, I'm just trying to be a servant leader.
and so from
The
now
little
on,
influence that I got, let
Lisa,
me lead you to the light.
since
At
he a
the end-
servant leader from now on, and he believe that servant leaders need to give their money. From now on, I need you to split your check between Kitchen Talk.
That
Listen,
part.
to be honest with you, Kitchen Talk takes my money too. The time that we spend here, even those last 10 minutes, that's money. That's
Oh
money.
my God, friend.
Money. We using our time. That's money. My time.
It's called.
Hey, that's the other thing about tithes and offerings.
We're manipulating some things right about now.
Yeah, I mean, we are. And if I was to try to correct everything he was saying about church, like he said, you don't have to go to church.
We'll
But,
be
I mean,
here all night.
I mean, the Bible
No, I
always
didn't say
says,
that.
forsake not the assembling of yourselves together, as some do.
No, I
As you see the
didn't say
end
you didn't have
approaching.
to go to church. I do believe it's just like the United States. When people gather together with the right mindset, with the right goals in place, we can
We're
make a
stronger.
greater difference.
Yeah.
But when
we're
we're
stronger.
led by the wrong people with the wrong intentions, people who are looking out for themselves more than they're looking out for other people. Now, you're right. You still got to look out for self. But at the end of the day, I still want to make sure that my people are moving forward.
Yeah.
So
Until we get past that.
The ultimate thing is that you yourself need to do some self-evaluation and get your whole self together.
Investigation.
Get your whole life together. Get your whole relationship with God or the universe or whoever you worship. Get
He's
it
my
all together.
friend. He's my friend. That's my guy. That's my guy.
Get it all together. Hey. And then once you get it all together. I mean, honestly, we do have to be smart and intentional about everything that we're doing.
This is if I can say this, Lisa. You know, the Bible tells us.
Say no, you can't say it.
Huh? Well, if you tell me no, then I'll be quiet. I mean, you the boss lady. You the head chef. You the main chef in the kitchen now. So, but if it's okay, what I was gonna say was the Bible tells us that we have the Spirit of God in us, and it bears witness to the truth. So we don't have to go in blindly when we go and listen to people speak, because the Spirit of God in us should check if this is right or wrong. That's why I tell people. That's why I tell the people in the ministry that don't just take what I say. Go home and read the whole thing.
Right.
Read it all. Pray about it. If you have any questions, pray about it and see what the Lord is saying to you on the inside, because it should confirm. Believe not every spirit, but try the spirit to see whether it's of God or not.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? So understanding that hey, pray about this thing and see what is, because there's a check there,
I think there is this thing that we kind of run into where we just kind of have this level of trust
certain people
with some people. I mean, whether it's blind trust or merited or whatever, sometimes we get a hold of something and it might have worked at one time, and so we got that, and now I trust everything that come out your mouth. I mean, that's just like our parents. Our parents didn't do everything right, but we trusted almost every word came out their mouth. Yeah. Whatever. So that's what it is. But again, you do have to create and develop your own relationship
And that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, your own relationship. That's what I was saying about get your whole life together.
Yeah.
Develop your own relationship so that you have your own mind, so that you have the spirit of discernment that works. And don't ignore the signs.
Yeah. And I was going to say,
okay,
too,
friends, we in agreement now.
and what I was going to say too is,
Miss Tatum, you see how this works, Miss Tatum? I just need to. It come full circle back to what Fran said.
not everything, Fran.
Not
said.
everything.
Not everything. But what I was going to say too was this: it's not only that people have blind faith, but some people are lazy.
Yep.
They don't want to build a relationship with God for themselves. They think they can go to church every Sunday, and the person standing in the pulpit is going to give you that relationship.
That's right.
They can't do it.
Yeah.
The other thing is this: you got to understand that person standing in the pulpit preaching the word of God to you got to be saved just like you.
Yeah.
He need the grace of, and she need the grace of God just like you.
Amen.
So
and they're growing. And they're growing just like you.
That's
a lot
that was going to be my point, because
they're perfect.
That was going to be my point, is because there's still a lot of people that's on milk.
Yeah.
There's still some babies out here that don't know, and we got to make sure that the babies are led. And that's the biggest problem I have, is because the babies don't understand. They still trying to build up that relationship. And here you are, the person who supposed to be the overwatch, the protector, the lead. And I'm not talking about the church. I'm talking about all sectors. Here you are taking full advantage of the people. You supposed the flock. You supposed to. I'm going for my church folk that understand this. The flock that you're supposed
the
to
constituents.
Yes, Lord. You instead of protecting them and giving them the milk so that they can grow into the meat.
Yeah.
You keep them on the milk.
You got your own agenda.
Yeah, agenda.
Your agenda works as long as they stay on the milk.
Correct. You keep them on the milk. It's just like the oppressor. I need to keep you down. I can't have you grow. I can't have you get better. I can't have you do. Why? Because if you do, now you take my place. Now I can't eat. Now I can't.
I'm so sorry that we have held you this long. But this is what happens when you have preachers on here. You got closet preachers, which is France.
Closet.
He's in the closet.
Oh Lord.
Listen, I'm for the people. I'm out in the world.
Preachers and politicians, that's France.
Yes.
Well, and these are topics that touch us, so that
absolutely.
That we're having to deal with, and we have to make these choices and decisions about who we're going to follow. And who we're going to trust.
And it's daily.
It's daily.
Yeah.
And I think again, just when it comes to like people, period, leadership, period, you have to be willing to learn and grow for yourself.
Yeah.
Understanding that it doesn't take away the fact that we need leadership and we need people in place. But at the end of the day, I must be willing to develop this relationship for myself.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of times we don't want to do that. Even in church with politics, I listen to some of the stuff and people could know that what these people are saying are not true. And they still would just, I would rather believe it because it's easier to believe it than to do the work. You know what I mean? So
it's easier to give away another tithe, another gift. Come on now.
I think you're going in a different way with that.
So listen.
The time is now.
CTC, and it's been really, really cooking right here.
I'm talking about
these pots is simmering.
They ain't simmering. You got stuff boiling over in the pot.
But everything in this pot ain't good.
Everything function. That's why it's boiling over.
It's boiling over.
Yeah, you know how it hits the stove and it becomes white. It becomes residue.
You better preach it, Karen Smith.
We are super excited. Listen, we have our summer subscriber campaign coming up. We're just getting started. So you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and on August the 25th, we will draw probably 3 or 4 names, and you can win $100 gift card and a guest appearance on Kitchen Talk. So this is what we do every summer. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button to our YouTube channel, and then also hit the like button on our Facebook page. It is Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations that
That cook.
That's what they do. That's what they do. We are super excited. We will see you all next week. Thank you so much, Miss Tatum. We appreciate you for all the work that you are doing on the front line. Oh, bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you, bless
That's somebody I will follow.
Absolutely.
Thank all of
Absolutely.
you for putting the message out and information. I totally appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You're doing good
All right,
work.
the parent snitch been hanging out with us, Miss Kim Black.
She going into the night. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Went black.
She went black. Thank you, Marvin Scott, for hanging out with us, and then my boys JT and France. Appreciate y'all so
I'm
much.
sorry I was so late. I was trying to find me an exit with a decent hotel. I was like, I got standards now when it comes to hotels. So
That's right. Don't be in
I don't blame you. I do not blame you at all.
I was being late, but I told Lisa why, because ain't y'all business.
Ah!
I had to get in the car to find what I needed.
We know
Y'all
you in
know
these
Kim-
streets.
Y'all know
Parent
Kim
snitch.
crazy, right?
I wasn't in the street.
Yeah. So JT was mad at me yesterday because he didn't have a link.
man, listen, I've been rolling so much. I literally forgot the days of the week. I was like, and I called. I was like, yo, we ain't on the show tonight. And,
I need you to get some rest.
hey, it's
It's
money.
that holiday. Is that July the 4th holiday?
Yeah, the holiday definitely. So we'll be back here next week at 9 o'clock.
We're going to talk about Roe versus Wade.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. So you know what we decided is it's always something going on, and we're gonna talk about it in the kitchen. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you, JC, in the background. I appreciate you so much.
Yo.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
No